Welcome to the Antonym Magazine Translation Contest discussion. Translation is a field of serious study. University of Exeter describes it as translation not only as interlingual transfer, but also as intercultural communication. It can also be described as an interdiscipline which touches on other diverse fields of knowledge, including comparative literature, cultural studies, gender studies, computer science, history, linguistics, philosophy, rhetoric, and semiotics. A very complex discipline indeed. On 12th May 2021, Antonym Magazine sent out a call to all translators for submission of their work to a contest of Bengali to English translation. The closing date for the submission was September 19th. Antonym Magazine takes pride in characterizing itself as a bridge of global literature, particularly bringing the literature of the global South to the monolingual readership of English speakers. For this contest, Antonym Magazine received 19 entries. 2 young women did the first cut or first elimination. Both readers are present today, and I would like to bring them in to describe the process of this elimination. Here they are, Atreyi Guho and Bishnupriya Choudhury. I'm Shomita Dasgupta, a writer and translator, and an admirer and supporter of Antonym Magazine. So let me begin by asking both the readers a few questions. Both Atreyi and Bishnupriya, please take turns and tell us a little bit about who you are and why you were asked by Antonym to do the first round of elimination.
Hello Shomita Di, hello Atreyi. So this is Bishnupriya. I hail from Pune, and I started off my career as a writer, a script writer. I completed my graduation in English, and after that I had my master's in comparative literature, and followed by another master's in creative writing from University of Central Florida. After that, I translate, I write, and sometimes I also work with hybrid art. Well, I've been with Antonym for quite some time now. Now I hand over to Atreyi.
Thank you. Atreyi?
Hello, I am Atreyi, and although I'm from Calcutta, India, I live in Boston right now. And like Bishnupriya, I started my education. I pursued my bachelor's degree in English literature and then my master's in comparative literature. And I've also studied mass communication. I have, I started my professional journey as a copywriter in advertising, and then I moved on to other areas of writing. So I've been a professional writer and editor for an extensive period now.
That tells us pretty well, why you were chosen. So I'm glad you were chosen. Wonderful. So let me ask you the next one. What criteria did you decide upon for the elimination round? Do you want to take it on, Atreyi?
Okay. So I was looking for, good language. Language that carries the essence of, the English that carries the essence of the original writing. So it has to be lucid, it has to read well, it has to be a pleasant read, as well as it has to, carry that, the character that the Bengali writer, the original writer, has actually written. So
actually, it's for me as well, it's quite similar, but I think I would also like to mention that I started off because since we asked the translators to submit the original stories along with their translations. So for me, it was I read through the original and the translation. And the most difficult part, I'll not reiterate all the criteria because it stays pretty same, because the story, the translated story had to read very pleasantly, very close to its, close to the target language. The English should be as fluid. I should not feel like I'm reading a translation. So, and this might sound a little bit abstract, but those of us who are working with translation, we sort of understand what this means. And other than that, that was the most important part. And the other part was to also kind of keep, we had to kind of constantly keep the two texts side by side, so we could see the reflection of the original soul in the other. Again, I'm using another abstraction, but because I always feel translation is that kind of a craft. Majorly, it has a lot of technical, it takes a lot of technicality, but ultimately the battle is in that realm of abstraction where, it's all about carrying the soul of one text to the other. So,
absolutely, because faithfulness to the original text is a very big part of good translation, and as well as fluidity of language, which both of you emphasize. So thank you so much for explaining that, and I hope that the viewers who are hearing you would understand it. Now, let me ask you the second one. Two of you are readers of this. So how did you collaborate with each other to have some kind of a parity in your work?
So we read through the stories first. I mean, just as Bishnupriya said, we kept the two texts side by side and we read both the original Bangla text and then the English translation. And then we exchanged the stories. I mean, I read the first bunch and then handed them over to Bishnupriya, and she did the same to me, and so that we could have the two of us reading through all the stories, so that it's like you do a double reading so that we know we are on the same page and we did not miss certain things.
Were you ever in conflict with each other as to which one you're choosing?
Not really. I mean, we did not tell each other like, this is what I'm reading and this is what I found. So we completed our reading on our own and then we swapped. And when she got the list, she said, yeah, it's more or less my list. I mean, this is how I looked at stuff, and I, almost agree with you on everything. So we were almost on the same page.
Let me go on to the next question that I have for you. As to what happens, do you know what happens next? Whether, I'm not sure by the way, how many stories did you choose from? What's your shortlist, that is? How many stories did you choose?
We chose 8 stories.
Out of 19? Out of 19? Okay.
Yes. And so we have done our first round of selection, and now it's over to the judges to, select the final winner and final selection.
So the judges are not necessarily Bengali speaking or reading people, are they?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah. So which means that you have done when you did the first elimination, the first round, you looked at the faithfulness of the story to the original text. And now what they are going to do is to just read it for its lucidity and language and how it feels, how the stories read to or speak to non-Bengali speakers. So when do you think the final decision will be made, Atre?
It's going to be made in a month's time, so it'll take a month or so. Yeah.
For the 3 judges to read the stories and then come to a decision?
Yes.
Okay. I think, Atre, thank you so much for explaining the process and really the process that you utilize. And it's really important for the people who have submitted to have a very clear idea about the process and to have the transparency that you're bringing to this process. So I really thank you for that.
I want to add something to this.
Sure.
It was a pleasure reading the stories. I mean, the submissions, they were all so great. And most of the work, they were all beautifully translated. And the translators showed, that's what we are talking about. You need to have some sort of dedication and, love for the original writing, the original piece. So that was reflected beautifully in the translation. So it was great work. Everyone.
Wonderful. That's wonderful. Thank you. And thank you for, by the way, thanks to both of you for candidly explaining the process that you adopted here and you carried through. And that I personally feel that is so extremely important for the people who have submitted, for the writers who have submitted to know. So I thank you both, and thanks to the viewers, and thanks to the translators. Sure. And if you have any questions about the contest, please do contact Antonym Magazine. And if you haven't visited the site and read the wonderful stories yet, and the writings there, so visit www.antonymmag.com. And good luck with your work, everyone, and happy translating. Thank you again to Atri and Vishnupriya.